Good evening and welcome to another video on All Hail the Ale. Tonight we are doing an alcohol-free showdown featuring two staple supermarket alcohol-free pale ales. Which two? It's these two. It is Ghost Ship and Shipyard's Low Tide. And yeah, they are both alcohol-free pale ales weighing in at 0.5% ABV. I've had both of them before and I just thought it'd be good fun just to compare the two and contrast the differences and see which one I prefer and, you know, put a little bit of information out there for those who've not tried them before. So we'll talk about Ghost Ship first of all. And it is a citrus pale ale from Adnams. It describes itself as being bold citrus flavours from citra hops. And it says very little else other than that on the bottle. Your bottle does contain 115 calories for those who are looking to keep it light in the light of New Year and all that jazz. And yeah, it's available for £1.30 in your local Tesco, which is the same price as the Shipyard Low Tide, which is also a 0.5% ABV pale ale, American as well. And what do we get to hear about this one? Not an awful lot about the beer at all, other than the aromas are meant to be mango and stone fruit. And the taste is fragrant, exotic tropical fruits with a sweet citrus hop. So there are some similarities. And yeah, again, £1.30 in your local Tesco right now. So we're going to pour them out and have a look and do the usual comparison against the 5 pillars of judgment, which are the looks, the aroma, the body, the taste, and the finish of the beer. And see which one comes out on top. I have done both of these beers before in separate reviews. This is just for fun. And before we go into the main review, we're going to look at the aid memoir that is covered off by Untapped. So the Low Tide has got 1,167 check-ins with an average score of 2.88. And the Ghost Ship has got more. It's got 4,109 with an average score of 2.87. So they are really, really close on Untapped. Really close. So let's start by pouring the Low Tide. We're going to pour that into a hobgoblin glass because I don't have any appropriate glassware for this one. These are both fridge cold. So the pour is, let's get the clearest side of the glass. It is pale. See if we can encourage a bit of a head. Alcohol-free beers, I find, struggle to keep a good head. So, that's your beer in a not too clean glass. There's too many bubbles for my liking. Anyway, you can see it's golden in colour, it's clear as a bell, and you had a white head that's about a finger's worth, but it's dissipating really quickly. So that's your beer in a glass there for your Low Tide. It looks like almost like a lager in terms of how pale it is, but you know, it's got a little bit more than a lager. It looks all right. So that's the Low Tide in the hobgoblin glass. The Ghost Ship is going to go in a Titanic glass. So the pour on this one is a little bit more colourful. Encourage ahead. Slightly better head on this one. There we go. So darker in colour. You've got a slightly tighter, more compact head that is ever so slightly off white. And yeah, so let's get them side by side just so you can get an idea of the difference. So Ghost Ship in my left hand, and in the right hand in the hobgoblin glass is the Low Tide. You can see the head is still hanging around on the Ghost Ship. It's gone completely on the Low Tide. So yeah, I think for me, I prefer the look of the Ghost Ship. It's darker, it invites that look of flavour. You know, more colour to me indicates a bit more flavour. You've got a better looking, longer lasting head. I think that's a win off the bat for, where's my chalk? Where's my chalk? Buggered off. It's over here. So the Ghost Ship wins that one, 1-0. So the aromas. So citrus hops from the Ghost Ship and stone fruit from, yeah, mango and stone fruit. Well, mango is a stone fruit from the Shipyard Low Tide. So let's go in with the Low Tide first of all. Getting pineapple. There is a hint of pineapple. It's sweet. It's like crystallized pineapple, and it's unusual to get that from this. Citrus, a little bit of mango. Yeah, it smells nice. It does. It's got what it says basically. Not much more than mango as your stone fruit. I was maybe hoping for a little bit of peach, apricot, nectarine, that kind of thing. But it is predominantly mango, pineapple, and citrus flavors on the nose. So notice the head is still here on the Ghost Ship. Let's go for a whiff. That's not what we're looking at. We're not looking at it now. We're looking at the smell, or smelling the smell. Something like that anyway. Subtle citrus. A nice whack of malt, but subtle citrus. Yeah. It's a more well-rounded, more balanced aroma, but the Low Tide actually has got more oomph. It's got more tropical goodness to it. It's... come back to it. Yeah. I'm getting that sweetness now from the Low Tide. There's a sweet malt coming through. I still, though, prefer the aromas of the Low Tide ever so slightly. It's not much in it. I prefer the aroma on Low Tide. So it's 1-1 at the minute. So the next test is on the body. So I look for something where it suits the style. You know, I'm not looking for big, heavy engine oil type consistencies on pale ale. So I'm just looking for it not to be overly thin, and I'm looking for a good mouthfeel with a decent carbonation. So let's see what we get from the Low Tide. It's light. It's not thin. There is carbonation there. It's just not particularly heavy. It could do just a little bit more. It's a nice soft mouthfeel. Slightly drying, but otherwise it's all right. It works. It fits the bill. Now for the Ghost Ship. That is just like having a pint of cask. It's got good body to it. It feels full in the mouth. You've got a really, really nice carbonation. It's soft, subtle, marshmallow-like. That is a clear win. For the Adnams, boys and girls, that is a 1 on the body for that. So it's 2-1 to the Ghost Ship at the moment. But the important bit for me, it's all well and good to have these nice little side lines that you win on, you know. But the taste is king. And we're going to put the two side by side again, just to look, you know. Taste, to me, the darker beers always look a little bit more inviting in terms of flavour. It just indicates flavour to me. So we're going to start with the Shipyards. Straight away, citrus hops. There is a creaminess, almost like a custardy creaminess, a bit like a Sharon fruit or a persimmon, that kind of thing. It works. It does work. I like it. But it's just a little bit lacking in the malt flavour. It's a pale ale. Yes, they are hoppier and perhaps a little bit more fruity than they are malty, but I just hope a little bit more of a robust malt would really lift that one into really good status. It's nice. As for the Ghost Ship, it's balanced. There is malt, there is the hop. They work really, really well, and it's a subtle citrus flavour. It's not overpowering. The citra hops have been, now in proper full fat Ghost Ship, they are prominent punchy. Here, it's toned down. It's almost like sitting in a Porsche 911, screaming along, but you've got one more gear to go. That's kind of what you got here. It's just almost giving its full potential. But the key here is the balance of the malt and the hops working together in perfect harmony with that subtle citrus flavour. It's another one for the Ghost Ship. It clearly is one for the Ghost Ship. So that gives it an unassailable lead at this point. But is it going to be 4-1 or is it going to be 3-2? Because the last bit is the finish. And on a finish, I look for an abundance of flavour that lasts. And again, I like to look for, a balance of the malt and the hop. But if I'm going to get an overpowering kind of, in a pale ale that is, an overpowering sort of one over the other, I'm going to look for the hop over the malt. So we're going to start again with the low tide. And straight away the finish is fruity, it's sweet, it's tropical, and it's dry. It is a really dry finish. Still there, it's a little bit malty, and most of the malt comes through on the finish on the low tide. It'd be nice if a little bit more of that came through in the flavour, but it's really good. It is really good on the finish. I enjoy it. I do. Now, Ghost Ship. Love that mouthfeel. It's spot on. It's the closest mouthfeel to a full fat cask beer that I've had. So the finish on this one, it is shorter, it's slightly more bitter, and I do like it and appreciate a bitterness in a pale ale. It's really well balanced. Slightly dry again. This is a tough one. It's more balanced than the low tide, but not quite as long. Let's go back to the low tide just for comparison. Yeah, the low tide is longer. The Ghost Ship is more balanced and well rounded. That's a tough one. I think we're going to have to call that a draw. But they've both got appreciable qualities, and it's difficult to really kind of put one over the other. So we have a 3-1 win for the Ghost Ship over the low tide, which, I'll be brutally honest, for me isn't the biggest of surprises. I've drunk more of the Ghost Ship AF than I have the low tide. I appreciate them both, and they both work really well, but Ghost Ship for me, out of the two, is the closest to a real sort of full fat beer, and therefore is going to generally win for me time and time again. But, you know, you're not going to go wrong with either or. They are both really tasty beers, and depending on your particular palate, it's going to dictate which one you're going to buy. So if you like them a bit more tropical and perhaps a little bit more fruity overall, then low tide is going to be right up your street. Whereas if like me, you prefer them a little bit more traditional, a little bit more well-rounded and balanced, and generally just fuller-bodied, then the Ghost Ship is going to be the one you're going to go for. But otherwise, you really can't go wrong with either, to be honest, ladies and gents, boys and girls. So there we are. It's just for fun. It's a win for the Ghost Ship. But like I say, you're not going to be a loser if you go for the low tide. So ladies and gents, boys and girls, we're at the point in the video where I'm going to say down there have been some buttons. They're still there. They're always there. You know exactly what to do with them. You've got like, comment, dislike, and subscribe. Choose any combination of them as you wish. And let me know in the comments section below what you think of either of these two rather tasty little beers. On that note, I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of these beers, get them uploaded for your viewing pleasure. Catch you later.